my favorite pals in this industry. She's like my homegirl. My friend Beth Burrows is also the Kentucky ambassador for Jim Beam. She's freaking amazing. We've done some things together, played around on the internet during the pandemic, and just always seem to find ourselves in the right places in Louisville whenever I come to town. So I want to introduce you to Beth, and Beth is going to give us an overview and tasting of Jim Beam Black.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me on to talk about this. I'm really excited about the Open Door campaign, and I'm super excited to get to this highball recipe here shortly. So, but yeah, just to give you all a little bit of background, my name is Beth Burrows. I'm the American Whiskey Ambassador for Beam here in the backyard of Bourbon. So I'm in Kentucky. I'm currently coming to you from the Global Innovation Center in Claremont, Kentucky. So I call these the white coats on the hill. It's all the folks who are doing the R&D behind the scenes, doing a lot of our package innovation, doing a lot of our liquid testing and everything. It's all done in this building. I'm currently in the liquid art studio. So if you can see all these wonderful bottles behind me, this is almost like a test kitchen, but in a cocktail space, to where we can set up this bar, basically like any bar that you would be wanting to open or go to, and just kind of see how our products look. So this all changes color back here. We can see what those different backgrounds, different lights look like. We've got our wells, like our service wells back here, so we can pick up bottles and get our hands wet and then try to pick up bottles again, and really just do all of that R&D to make sure that by the time the liquid gets to you and the bottles get to you, that it's the absolute best experience that we possibly can get. So Samara, that was such a beautiful intro. Thank you so much. You're one of my absolute favorite people. We definitely need to go to Trouble Bar and sit on the back patio again very soon.
Absolutely.
So, let me know when you get back up here. I missed you the last time you were here. We're both so busy, but it will happen. It will definitely happen. So I just wanted to give you all a little bit of background on the James B. Beam Distilling Company and kind of the Beam family history and heritage. I know that you all have joined us before and you've probably heard a bit about it, but for anybody that maybe hasn't,
going to 5:30 right now. I'm on the bourbon thing right now.
Okay, so I know you can mute yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Beth. Keep talking.
Oh, no. It's totally fine. No worries at all. So yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of history and a little bit of background about the James B. Beam Distilling Company. So we are here in Claremont, Kentucky. It is a Beam family tradition to make bourbon and American whiskey. And it all started way back in 1795 when our first master distiller, Jacob Beam, laid down his first barrel of whiskey. So if you want to do any quick math there, it's 226 years of Beam family bourbon making and American whiskey making. And that's a pretty tall feat for something to be going that long in a family business to begin with. And for a family business in bourbon and American whiskey is insane, right? So we've gone through our generations, passing it along pretty much from father to son until we get to Jim Beam's son is T. Jeremiah, and he didn't have any kids, which is where you see that switch over from Beam to No as far as the last name. It's still the same family. It just was T. Jeremiah's sister's son, so his nephew, that took over instead of any of his children because he didn't have any. And so that's really kind of what happened. And Booker No was our previous master distiller, and he's known for the small batch series. And I'm sure you all have had your hands on Basil Hayden, Knob Creek, Booker's, and Baker's. That's Baker's with a B. And he's really the reason that those exist, and he's the reason that the small batch category exists. So he was a huge staple in our company and in our family distilling, but also in the world of whiskey, and kind of leaving his mark with that amazing idea of small batch. He didn't really like single barrels, which is why we didn't release a single barrel until after he had passed away, because he probably rolled over in his grave a little bit when we did that. But good thing that Fred and Freddie, so our current master distiller, Fred No, and his son, Freddie No, who is set in line to be the next master distiller, enjoy their single barrels, and we can keep producing things like that. But today we're going to be talking about Jim Beam Black, and I'm very excited about that because Jim Beam Black Label is a personal favorite. It's also a favorite for the family and most of the people that work here. It's on everybody's back bar. So just a raise of hands, how many people have Jim Beam Black on their back bar? Few, maybe, hopefully. Awesome. I'm going to get myself a little glass here so that we can do our tasting. So Jim Beam Black is extra aged Jim Beam. So Jim Beam being the #1 selling bourbon in the whole wide world. is aged for 4 years, right? And it used to say on there that it was double the amount of aging than your traditional or that it needed to be, which is, you know, at 4 years old. And so Jim Beam Black used to be an 8-year product. And much like the bourbon boom hit everyone else, we weren't ready for that. And we ended up having to take that age statement off of our bottle. So the liquid now inside of the bottle is about 5 to 6 years old, sometimes upwards of 7 years. But within that, I always like to say, especially since I'm in the GIC, that once we dropped that age statement, we won at the International Wine and Spirits Competition as the highest rated bourbon in the world in a blind taste test with Jim Beam Black. So it's a testament to the folks here that are producing a product that is consistent and beautiful every single time. They're hitting that mark constantly. So Jim Beam Black is 86 proof. Pour myself a little glass here. Hopefully y'all have been sipping on National Bourbon Day. If you haven't, let's get started, right? So with Jim Beam Black being 86 proof, it is very approachable. It is I wouldn't say necessarily an easy sipper because it is whiskey after all, right? But it is a little bit more of a delicate sipper than say your Knob Creek or your Booker's Baker, something over 100 proof. But have you all ever gone through the Kentucky Chew before? Samara, I know you're a pro, but how about the rest of the crew?
Most of us have, but some of us are new. So we're always happy to do it again. Let's go.
I think let's go for the whole thing, the whole experience.
The whole shebang. All right, fantastic. So it's always good to go back and refresh too, right? So we were talking about Booker a little bit ago, and Booker No, again, is known for kind of putting his ways of doing things out in the world. He was a larger than life man. I mean, he was about 6'5". He was about 380. That being said, he played football for UK for one season underneath Bear Bryant, and he was really light on his feet. He was an amazing dancer and had a lot of fun, whipping people around the dance floor, especially his wife, Annis, who was about 4'11". So if you want to think about those dynamics, it was a real interesting dancing partner situation. But Booker really liked to tell people how he liked to do things. And then also just told them, do it any damn way you please, right? Drink it any damn way you please. It was really important to him that you enjoy your sipping process. So he always kind of suggested that you sip it neat first, then add a couple drops of water, then add in your ice, because the way that you like one product may not be the way that you like the next. And so every time that you're going through your tasting, you should taste it in a multitude of ways. But he likes to do what we call the Kentucky Chew, which was coined in probably the late 80s when he was hanging out with a reporter and he showed them how he did his tasting. And they coined the Kentucky Chew as the way that he did it. So the first thing that we do when we go in to assess our liquid is we want to take a look at that glass, right? Look at that beautiful amber color of this Jim Beam Black, swirl it around a little bit. And then you're going to put it up underneath your nose, slightly part your lips and inhale. And the reason for that is if you keep your lips closed, a lot of times you just get that straight alcohol burn directly up your nose. That's not very refreshing. That's not super nice. So if you slightly part your lips, you're going to get that nice aeration, right? So you're going to get all those subtle intricacies that come through. And so for Jim Beam Black, I hate giving tasting notes because it's a subjective thing, right? Everybody kind of has their own. But for me, Jim Beam Black does actually have a bit of a sweetness to it on the nose. You do get a little bit of that oakiness that comes through as well. You can definitely tell that you're about to sip some whiskey, right? Some amazing bourbon on National Bourbon Day. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take that sip and you're going to chew it all the way around your mouth. So you want it to go and hit every piece of your palate, right? So you want to hit the roof of your mouth, your cheeks, your tongue, your gums. They want you to hit everything. That way you can assess exactly how it hits your palate. You're going to swallow for the finish. The finish is what we call the Kentucky hug. So the Kentucky hug is essentially hugging you from the inside out, right? Because burns are bad. We don't like saying burn. Nothing burns. It's just a real hard hug, right? If it gets you a little bit more. But this hug is going to be a little bit lighter. We'll talk about that in a second. Then you want to smack your lips and exhale. And the reason for that, again, same idea. You want to aerate everything inside of your mouth, pick up those subtle intricacies, and then you don't want to trap that heat on your palate. So at 86 proof, don't have to worry about it as much. But as we start to move up to the 100 proof into those barrel strengths, you definitely want to make sure that you give it a little out of your mouth, right? You don't want to trap all that heat inside of your palate. So those were a lot of words. I promise it's not hard. It looks a little something like this.
Okay, so are we chewing Bourbonites?
Yeah. Go ahead and chew. I can only see one person at a time, so I don't really know. I'm hoping everybody's
they're chewing. At least
awesome.
I'm looking at the chewing. Tell me what you're getting. Let's go through let's We won't give the flavor notes, but Bourbonites, impress us on Bourbon Day. What are you all getting on the palate?
Caramel.
I'm getting like a dark caramel though, like that's been cooked slightly too long. So there's like a slight char note to it, but it's still sweet and has that caramely flavor there.
I'm getting I think what for drilling to piggyback off of that, it almost has, you get the sweet, I think more from the nose than actual mouth, and then it finishes bitter compared to how it smells.
It does.
On my palate. So it's a little shocking because that's not what I expected. But it drinks warmer than 86 proof.
It definitely does have a little bit more,
Yeah.
Robin, if I hop off the back of what you said, I don't know if it's as much for me that it finishes, sorry, I have plants, so you always do this, that it finishes bitter as it dries at the end. So I think it finishes dry, which is interesting to me. I've had more bourbon that's like that. It's kind of cool. Almost like
it's like a little bit of an astringency, right? So it's a little mouth drying for sure.
The problem with that is then you go back in for another sip sooner than you should.
You say problem, I say wonderfulness, right?
Opportunity, sorry. The opportunity you have is to go back in.
There you go. I like that. Use opportunity instead. No, it definitely does have a little bit of an astringency to it. And I always like to say, so we kind of grazed over a lot of the family history just because I'm trying to keep it short and sweet so that we can get to tasting and things. But Jim Beam caught the wild yeast in his backyard in 1935 after, oh my gosh, I can't speak today, after Prohibition was repealed. And so we've been propagating that live yeast ever since. And this yeast really gives Jim Beam its funky nuttiness. And I say that super affectionately, but if you ever taste Jim Beam White Label, it definitely comes through in a very peanutty way. And Jim Beam Black, I feel like it manifests itself a little bit more in almost like a candy bar type of peanut, right? So almost a little bit of that chocolate, a little bit of that nougat, a little bit of that, caramelization of the peanut. And that's what I taste in Jim Beam Black. And that really comes from our yeast strain.
It's funny you said that because I got like dark honey. I did get nut, and I'm like, that's traditionally you don't have a nutty flavor. So I was a little bit shocked at that, but I did get the nut. And it was more of, there was like no hug at the end. So really, really scary because this could be something you could just sit down and just drink. And that's scary.
See, Chris and I are both like, this is interesting.
I know.
This might be problematic.
We can get together, Kim.
That's amazing. Yeah, it does. It really does manifest itself that way. And it's always kind of fun for me to talk through how that nuttiness manifests itself, because we do have the same yeast strain and the same, mash bill for a lot of our different products. And because we're able to pull the levers of distillation proof, of entry proof, of, what we're doing on the back end, whether we're chill filtering or anything like that, all of these products that are coming from the same mash bill, same yeast strain, tend to come out in a very different way. And that's why we can have such an array of different brands. And so that nuttiness still comes through no matter what you're sipping on. So with Knob Creek, it's almost like a candied pecan. When you get to Baker's, it's almost like a walnut that you've put together with I put it with something one time and now I can't separate the two. I did like a rye crostini with some brie and a smoked apple and a nice toasted walnut on top. And I get that with Baker's, which makes me really excited. And then as you move into Booker's, that peanuttiness still carries through from what you would taste in Jim Beam, but it's just in a much different way. It's almost, again, like in that candied space like you get with Jim Beam Black. But it can be dangerous for sure. And that hug being non-existent. I like to talk about my hugs like they're real hugs, because especially during COVID, I missed hugging people. So I just started getting hugged by whiskey, right? And so those hugs really, with this one is I saw Jim Beam Black yesterday, right? I'm still happy. He's happy to see me, but it's more of a side hug with maybe a little hip bump, and then we're on our way, right? So it's real brief. It's nice. It's refreshing. And then it's over and we're ready for that next hug.
I think that was a very accurate hug description. Because yeah, it was like, okay, I see you. Let's get the preliminaries over and get to what we got together for.
How are you? How's the kids? Okay, cool. All right. You know, the end. But yeah, so I think that Jim Beam Black is a super approachable whiskey for sure. You know, when it comes to bourbons, it stands up in cocktails relatively well. It's not going to be something in a cocktail if you want that bourbon base to be really strong, like something like a Knob Creek, or, you know, like I keep going back to Knob Creek, but it's our 100 proof staple, right? Even Old Granddad, anything at that 100 proof range where it's going to be a main component of the cocktail and stand out really strongly. With Jim Beam Black, it just plays so well with different flavors, which is why I'm really excited about the highball that we're going to get to here in a little bit, because it's going to be a very exciting way of Jim Beam Black playing in the highball space, but also playing with some amazing ingredients and really fun, refreshing summer ingredients.
Nice.
Anybody else have any thoughts on Jim Beam Black? I always love hearing people. I'm also making sure that I hit on all the things that are in the quiz later on so that I don't mess anybody up here.
There is a quiz.
I also felt like I nosed some fruit in there. I got green apple.
Yeah, a little bit of green apple.
Yes. I mean, really, really strongly. So, and so I smell. When I nosed it, I got green apple, caramel, and some earthiness and smokiness, but it didn't drink as sweet, so that was kind of nice. Which is good.
Can I ask you a random question? Muscat grape, like the green muscat grapes, the really big ones. I think they call them like scuppernongs too, depending on what area of the country you're in. Hey, let me tell you, I've been practicing. But it's not those normal grocery store green grapes. It's the more specific.
We call them bullets. Bullets or scuppernongs. Yeah.
Yeah.
We call them bullets in the South too.
Even maybe muscadine.
It does taste like that.
It has that.
Muscadines, yeah.
It has that green notes from those types of strains or species or whatever they call different types of grapes. I'm sorry.
But it has a really light mouthfeel to it too, and it finishes really light, which I think is perfect for like spring and summer cocktails. Because whenever I taste the bourbon, there's almost all bourbon I'll make into a cocktail. I have a few that I won't, so I'll immediately start thinking about what time of year. For me, I have bourbons that I only drink during certain seasons, so I always think about what time of year would I drink this in, and it's gonna be perfect for spring and summer. Because like you said, it won't take over the cocktail, but it will be present. And I think that's important, especially if you're drinking outside on those hot days and you want to keep drinking, because sometimes you'll get a drink and it's too heavy. The alcohol is too heavy and you're weighed down, you're miserable, and you just can't enjoy the cocktail. But this is nice. And I think it's going to pair well with like the watermelons and all the fresh fruit of the seasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it definitely does well with fresh now, because if this lengthens well, then I'm concerned about the cocktail now. I haven't made it yet. Kenny and Chris have both said this is okay.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's legit. It's good.
Right, you have already made the cocktail.
You've already made
That is not a highball glass.
I'm in.
I was trying to be a lady. I should have done that from the very beginning.
I want y'all to understand that some of the DC contingent have passed the recipe out about an hour ago, and they have started it.
Hey, Kenny, we want to see that glass. Oh, you got a beer mug. Look at you.
Yeah, I got a beer mug.
That is not highball.
I had to improvise.
It's a whole-on stein is what you got going on there.
So troops, Bourbonites, we still have a program. We'll get to the happy hour section in just a little bit.
So I'm not drinking tonight, but I did have my notes to share, so I had to pull out my notebook. I have so much Beam. I love Beam. I got on the nose those basic bourbon aromas. However, right behind it was like ripe fruit. And then on the palate, it was apricot, dried apricot, and a hint of the nutmeg, that nuttiness that comes with a couple of them. So it was really good. I have a supportive accent as well, which was like pepper, dried cloves.
I get a lot of black pepper on the finish.
Yes.
Like not overwhelming, but like it doesn't really carry through on the nose or on the palate until you do that nice little exhale at the end, and then you get that little bit of pepperiness to finish it off.
Yes, you have to leave your lips slightly parted and you have to breathe in and you pick it up on the back. Yes.
Well, Beth, thank you so much for talking about the history of Beam and leading us through this riveting tasting. Mackenzie, I want to turn it over to you. I think we've gotten a lot more members who've joined us on the call. So do you want to do a recap of the Open Door Tour and then kind of talk about the 3 elements of this entire campaign?
Sure, I surely can. So for those that are new, hey, I'm Mackenzie. We are doing the Open Door Tour, powered by Jim Beam. And so what we're going to be doing is we're celebrating the reopening of Black-owned bars really across the country, but we are going to be visiting 5 cities. We are going to be going to Atlanta. We're going to be visiting Chicago. We're going to see the fam in New York. We're going to roll down to DC, and then we're going to finish strong in Dallas. And so those are the cities that we're going to be visiting. And, the theme that we're being powered by is welcoming spaces, and a lot of our Black-owned bars and our neighborhood spots, are those welcoming spaces. They're those places where we're able to go and have really good experiences, and feel comfortable and feel open, and we're celebrating all of that. And so for each city, we're going to be highlighting 3 such spaces. And y'all, we really wanted it to be a whole mood. So we've got 3 whole moods, actually. Our Friday night events are going to be what we're referring to as the highball happy hour. We are celebrating the highball. We're going to have highballs. We're going to have some snacks. It's going to be a happy hour, network and chill sort of situation. Okay, that scared me a little bit. Sorry. Samara started her screen and it threw me off. I thought my whole machine was like having a seizure. Okay, back on track. On Saturday, we're sort of trying to get the vibe and the feel of your outdoor summer barbecue. So we're having the Bourbon queue. It's going to be a paired tasting situation. And so it's going to be an afternoon event. We're going to have what we're calling a deconstructed barbecue pairing. So we're going to be going through the Jim Beam portfolio, tasting multiple of the products and pairing it with barbecue and things from a barbecue and putting that together. And that's going to be a whole program. And
because everybody loves a good cookout, right?
Exactly. Okay. And then Sunday, because we know how y'all love to brunch, we are having the Rhythm and Bean brunch. It's going to be a bougie, boozy brunch. Samara said that, it's supposed to be bougie, classy, and ratchet. So that's what we're going for. Out here, we're going to have some live entertainment. We're going to be probably in some cases debuting the Jim Beam Orange product.
Absolutely.
And so having some nice brunch Jim Beam cocktails at these events. And we're coming out and we feel like it should be a whole lot of fun. And we're hoping to see all of you there.
It's a whole vibe. It's a whole mood, And, just to piggyback on top of that with Mackenzie, again, this is in support of Black-owned bars and restaurants. So the majority of these events are free to attend. The Friday, the highball happy hour and the bougie brunch, the Rhythm and Beam brunch are all free to attend, but we are supporting Black-owned bars and restaurants. So that means buy all the cocktails, buy all the apps, buy all the pancakes, all the bacon, all the cocktails. Really, we just want to flood these accounts that we've chosen with love. And we want to make sure that it's their best weekend ever. A lot of businesses really did suffer, especially in the restaurant and the hospitality industry. They suffered during the pandemic. And so now that we're all vaccinated and the world is all open, I know Florida and Georgia, we've always been open, but for the rest of the world, you know, we really need to make it up to these accounts. And with Jim Beam's support, we definitely want to come in strong and put our money where our mouth is. And we don't only want to just come up and show out and be surrounded by our community, but we want to definitely make sure these accounts feel loved and you know, they go home rich, rich and full of just from our presence being there. So right. Anyways,
real quick,
Brad called it Buclatchet. How do I say that?
We're gonna go with Buclatchet.
Oh,
Buclatchet.
Bougie, class, okay. Classy, and ratchet.
Okay, sure. We'll do that. So that's how the campaign is going to roll out. We are not quite ready to reveal. Well, we can reveal Atlanta. We're ready to reveal our venues for Atlanta, but not quite for the other cities. But we've got our dates. Our dates are locked and loaded. So come on down, come join us and be there and just be ready for anything. And it sounds like the DMV ambassadors have a few things up their sleeves that is not on our agenda. But I will bring extra outfits.
They're gonna plus up our plus up.
They're gonna plus up all of our plus ups.
They're plussing up our plus ups. Okay.
I'm gonna make sure I bring extra outfits so that I'm prepared for whatever happens. So let's keep the party moving. Are there any questions before we go on and into our cocktail strategy?
One question. For the events, are they, do we have to register beforehand?
Yeah, so we'll have all of that information. It'll all go up on the website. It'll all be, you know, of course, in BBS. It'll all go via email. So you'll have ways to register. But again, for the majority of these accounts, it's first come, first serve. The one that we'll need to register for is the Saturday event. Just because that's more of a seated formal tasting and barbecue pairing. So we'll have more details on that to come very, very, very soon.
Yes, but we definitely will encourage everyone to RSVP for everything that there's an RSVP link for. So we know you're coming, so that we know you came.
Right. So we can capture all that stuff. All right, so we've enough of the information. Let's go back to drinking. Let's bring our dear friend Beth back. She's going to go over what a highball is and the whole highball cocktail strategy.
Yes. So highball is a whole category, right? And I think a lot of people hear the word highball and they go back to their granddad or their grandmother sipping a highball, which generally just meant whiskey and soda of some sort. And it didn't really matter what glass it was in. It didn't matter, you know, how it was served or anything like that. It was just whiskey and soda. And I think a lot of people have this memory of a soda gun, right? Or something that's just not going to be highly carbonated or anything like that. And so with a lot of things, especially with us being Beam Suntory, we have looked to our partners over in Japan who have taken a lot of American things and elevated the experience. And that's exactly what happened with highball is they took this idea of a cocktail of a whiskey and soda, and that could be any type of soda, right? It can be your ginger ale, your ginger beer, any type of soda that you have with your whiskey, and just making it that much better. And so with the highball cocktail, there's three things that really, really matter. And that's going to be chill, dilution, and ice, right? And that carbonation with it too. So with those things, we really want to make sure that they are the primo every single time. And so I tend to keep, when I make my highballs, I keep my bourbon in the refrigerator or in the freezer, depending on how you want to do it, right? Like how cold you exactly want them to be. And you're going to use a chilled whiskey in order to make this cocktail. And the reason for that is to make sure that you have the minimal amount of dilution possible, because we want to make sure that you're tasting absolutely everything, right? And we know what happens if you pour warm whiskey over ice, you get immediate dilution. And so we want to make sure that that temperature difference is not really as drastic, so that we can make sure that dilution stays as minimal as absolutely possible. And the next thing is going to be your carbonation, right? So we want to have as much carbonation as possible. So looking at something like our highball machines, if you all have ever had the chance to have a highball before, Samara, have you had one before? I feel like
I have. Oh, plenty at Tails, absolutely.
Like life-changing, right? It has the levels of carbonation that are higher than champagne. It's almost like 6 times higher than champagne. So it's constant bubbles. It's very, very refreshing. Every single sip is just as refreshing as the last, all the way to the last drop, probably too refreshing, because highballs go down so easily, so easily, right? And so because of that, you know, we want to make sure that we have as much carbonation as humanly possible. And we want to do that in a glass that allows for carbonation to stay retained and allows for chill to happen at the most, like the utmost high level, which is why we want to use our highball glass, right? There's a highball glass and a Collins glass. They're somewhat similar. A Collins glass tends to be a little bit wider set, but it's still a good glass to utilize. So you want it to be straight. You want it to be basically just a cylinder, because that's going to allow for the effervescence to go from the bottom to the top and kind of circulate back and forth and allow it to not go up. Because if you use a glass like this, right, your pint glass, those bubbles are going to go up and out. But if you use that straight glass with a rim that's got a little bit more to it, they're just going to kind of float through over and over and over again. So that's why we want to utilize our glass that's a highball glass versus, say, a large rocks glass or anything of that nature. We always like to say, you know, drink it any damn way you please. That's how we talk about our whiskey. That's how Booker always talked about his whiskey. And I like to say that about highballs too, right? Highball however you want. If you want it to be your, you know, Jim Beam Black and soda water, amazing. If you want it to only be Topo Chico for the rest of your life, I totally agree and I understand completely. If you want it to be Fever Tree, I totally get that too, right? So you just want to make sure that you do it any way that you possibly want, and make sure that you're sipping it to your own standards. Because just like whiskey, right? When we're sipping our whiskey, you want it to be palatable always. The last thing that you want to do is sip it and it be like a painful experience. Nobody wants that. That's not an enjoyable experience. So we always want to make sure that we do our cocktails any damn way you please, and you sip your whiskey same way, right? Any damn way you please. So what all did I go through here? I said dilution. We want to make sure that we want to do our chill with our ice and make sure that we have the most carbonation as humanly possible. And those are really the biggest things when it comes to your highball. So in order to make your highball, make sure that you've got your highball glass, your Collins glass. If you only have a pint glass at home, that's totally fine. If you only have a rocks glass at home, as of right now, right? Any damn way you please. If it's what you got in front of you, it's what you got in front of you. But if you're going to go and try to do it in the most traditional way possible, that's what we're going to do. So Japan took that. They really gave us back this package of, this is what makes a refreshing highball. It's sessionable, right? It comes along in the same place as like beer would. But for me, I'm not a huge beer drinker. Nobody judge me. I don't know. Some beer drinkers get really angry when I say things like that. But for me, I'd rather eat food. Beer fills me up. It makes me a little bit bloaty, and it's just not as much of an enjoyable experience as I would hope for my sipping. So with a highball, I still get that refreshingness, right? I still get that easy, sessionable, good sipper to where I can put them down on a hot day. Like it's 93 here today. And I know that y'all are in some hotter places, but like 93 in Kentucky is drenched and dripping and humidity forward. And all I want today is a highball. Like I've been looking so forward to this BBS highball. I haven't made it yet because I was just looking forward to having that moment. But in true fashion of us doing highball and being Beam Suntory, we look to them to how we celebrate, right? And we do that through highball formation. We do that through gatherings. And really the highball family is super diverse and everywhere, because we're able to pull in anybody into our highball family. As long as you want to put a highball in one hand and your favorite food in the other and be surrounded by amazing people, that's a highball occasion, right? If it's on a patio, if it's watching a ball game, if it is, you know, in somebody's backyard at a barbecue, those are all amazing highball experiences in locations to be able to sip this really sessionable, amazing thing. And we do it in a very specific way. So I'm going to teach you about it now, and then we'll do it later after we put our highball together, because I'm going to need Samara to lead us in a skull. I want to see, I know you've done it with Tim. I know for a fact you probably have. So with us, you know, we learned to make beer at Suntory through a non-traditional way, right? So because we learned it from the Danes, they don't say Kampai, they say Skål instead, right? So almost like going all the way back to the Viking days. And that's really how we celebrate. So with a Skål, you either do 1 or 3 Skåls. You have your leader, right? You've got your Skål leader, which is going to be Samara here in a minute. But you have to let people know it's going to be 1 or 3 Skåls. And it's literally just saying the word Skål, S-K-O-L, right? And you can do it however you want. We tend to get really ridiculous with it because it's a lot of fun, but it's a call and response. So you would say Skål 1 time, and then you just say it, and then we say it back to you. So that's kind of the way that we celebrate and really bring people together in this highball formation and this highball world. And we're going to be taking it in a roadshow soon, which I'm really excited about. So look out. There's a few cities, and I can get you all the information if you happen to be in one of those cities. But we're taking that on the road too, so that we can show everybody what that highball community looks like and building that highball community. So we're going to be Skåling all over the US. It's going to be great. Well, mostly the East Coast, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely. So, okay, do we want to build the cocktail before I start Skåling then?
Oh yeah, we've got to have the cocktail in our hand for sure. And like your traditional highball formation would be a highball in one hand and your favorite bite of food in the other. So depending on where you are or what your favorite foods are, highball, great thing about it is it goes with so many different cuisines. But we always want to make sure that it's kind of a handheld, right? Because we're talking about being in a community, you know, in a setting with a lot of other people. So you don't want to have a whole plate. You've got a highball in one hand. You can't have your other hand taken up, right? Especially me, I'm a hand talker. So just like one little bit of food in our nice little highball formation. All right. So do you want to walk us through how to make the cocktail? And are you going to walk through it with us or no?
Yeah. Can I read it off to you and you make it?
Of course. Most definitely. I didn't want you to have to juice a watermelon live here. That's not okay. That's like a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah. Sorry. All right. So we're going to do 1.5 parts so in BBS, Beth, we do things a little heavy-handed. So we're going to do, what is it? 1.5 parts of Mackenzie.
Yes.
Is it beam? It has got to be beam. That's not 3 ounces of beam.
No, we didn't do the traditional.
We didn't do the BBS. So normal BBS.
We didn't do the BBS pour.
We are not doing that. We are doing a handful of mint muddled in the bottom of a glass, bottom of a highball. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Okay, that's enough. We don't want to necessarily bruise our mint because our mint often turns bitter if you hit it too much, right? So just break up the oils in the mint. We're then going to do 1.5 parts of Jim Beam Black. We're going to do 3 parts of watermelon juice, fresh squeezed.
Ah.
Yeah. Whoop. And then we're going to do ginger ale as our bubbles, right?
I'm gonna go grab my ice real fast. I left it in the back, so let me go grab that. Oh.
All right, and so we've got to fill our glass with ice, make sure it's super cold, and we're going to, of course, top with ginger ale.
All right, so I've got big cubes. I went big cubes.
Okay.
And I didn't do it in my fancy glass, so now I'm gonna have to change them over.
All right.
All right. Strain this in. Boom. All right. And you said how many parts? Just, I know you said top off. Is
about, there like a 3 parts. 3 parts ginger ale. Yeah. The cure-all for everything is ginger.
Right? I think I can get one more.
Okay.
Nice little topper cube there.
Oh, lovely. All right. And then you just drink it. You can, of course, garnish it with some lovely mint, a bouquet of mint, like Kim just showed us.
Or you
I
can
went real crazy.
Oh.
Oh, there you go.
And so your garnish acts as your handheld, right? So eat and drink.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you shake it or stir it, or just?
That's it. You just can you can kind of connect it together with a bar spoon if you want, but really it's just having that ginger ale seep all the way through. It just picks everything up, and you're good to go. And that is the Open Door Highball.
The Open Door.
All right, you ready to skol us? Are we gonna do 1 or 3?
I mean, I don't know do I just shout skol and call it a day?
However you want to do it. You can make it fun. Yeah, you're just shouting skol. You can do it 1 time or 3 times. We'll pair it back to you, whatever you say. And you can make it however you want to skol. You can go loud, you can go soft, you can make them all different, whatever you want to do.
This is hard. I should have Googled how to do this.
It's not. Do you want me to lead it? I can take it off your plate if you want.
Yes. You lead the first one. Can I get the second one?
Oh, of course. Yes. Okay, I'll show you how we do
the third one.
We don't want it to be intimidating because it should never be intimidating. So I'm going to do 3 skols because this is our first time doing it together as a BBS family. So I want to make sure that we do it to the extreme. And I need everybody off mute because I got to hear you say it back to me. All right, so we're gonna do 3 skols. Say it right back to me. Skol.
Skol.
Y'all enjoy.
And then we drink.
Yeah, well, y'all been drinking, but yes.
This is delicious.
Oh, it's so good.
Robin, can you just hold up your cocktail real quick because it's just gorgeous.
So pretty.
It's so pretty.
Look at Jorland's.
Oh, Jorland's is also pretty.
Yeah, you missed my watermelon.
Yeah, this is really this goes down really easy. This is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Y'all keep saying problem. We need to change that to opportunity.
This is a situationship with bourbon.
Okay. Well, thanks, Beth, for breaking down highball, like all highball formation, right?
And how to
do the skol. Who, me?
Yeah, you're supposed to lead us in the second one, remember?
Yeah, you got to skol us.
I will close out with a skol. I'll close out. We still got a little bit of programming to go.
Peach.
Oh, no watermelon. Yeah, use peach. Peach is another one. Yeah, that looks good, Robin.
Thank you.
All right, so we have there's another element to this campaign that is super important. We are also in collaboration on this campaign with the National Black Chamber of Commerce, and they have created a virtual conference for the bars and restaurants, again, to learn a little bit more about professional development, marketing, hospitality, a whole host of content and courses that our venues that we selected and other Black-owned bars and restaurants throughout the country can participate in over the summer. So yes, we'll be partying, we'll be drinking, we'll be supporting the Black-owned bars and restaurants, but we definitely wanted to include an educational component to this as well. So we do have Harry Alford, who is a part of the National Black Chamber of Commerce. He's on the line with us. And Harry, will you just take a couple minutes to tell us about the virtual conference that you and your team are creating?
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Doing great, doing great. It's amazing to be joining you all tonight, and that cocktail looked amazing. I wish I could have partaken in it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. So we're gonna be putting out some programming that's gonna be educational, informative, with some type of panel format, with some experts, some thought leaders, and people doing really great things in the community. And we thought it would be a really good add-on to the amazing social events and activations that you all are doing. And but also a part of the programming, there'll also be a time to connect as well. So there is a networking component with a virtual kind of like speed dating type of one-on-one that you could be having with a lot of, you know, great connections that you'll be able to make during the program. So we're really looking forward. We're partnered with the between Humboldt and the National Black Chamber of Commerce. Humboldt is a venture development firm that drives innovation forward with a focus on diverse founders and those building solutions for diverse audiences. The National Black Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit that's been around for over 30 years. They educate and advocate on behalf of small Black businesses. And we've done some work together in the past. And we are so excited to be working with all of you. And so thank you for allowing me to get a little shout out right now. I'll let everyone get back to sipping on their drinks, but looking forward to seeing everyone soon.
Thanks, Harry. And we look forward to learning more about your conference and how we can support. All that information will go on the website. I think it's already on the website, but more details will be unrolling as the campaign rolls along. All right, so I think it's trivia time. Do you guys remember anything that Beth did other than
Skull?
We're about to find out.
It's all
Thank you, Mackenzie. We're about to find out.
All right, so we were, you know me, I'm technology challenged. I had no idea how to do Kahoot, so I do know how to do a Zoom poll. So let's see the percentage of how many people paid attention to this. Ooh. So what year did Jacob Beam lay down his first barrel of whiskey, becoming the first Beam family master distiller? See how many people were paying attention. If you work,
that was like the first thing I said.
Right. If you work for Beam Centauri, you cannot skew our poll. Thank you so much for joining us today, but don't participate.
That's easy.
Y'all remember?
226 years.
Okay, somebody gave the answer. Now, can you do the math? Brack is saying he joined late, so he can't write the right answer.
That sounds like an excuse to me.
Right.
Brack always joins late.
All right. I'm only going to give us another 10 seconds. Some of y'all weren't paying attention, but we'll go with what this is.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
I said a lot of things really fast.
I know the answer, but I wasn't here on time, so I didn't feel like it was fair for me to put the answer.
Oh, don't do that, Brack. Participate, please.
It wasn't fair.
It's on the bottle.
Not paying attention, or perhaps have already had a couple of the drinks and can't do the math anymore.
It was on the test.
All right.
Well, I'm not testing.
So, Beth, is this correct? Only 48%. 48% think it was born in 1795.
Those would be the right people.
That's what it was.
Right. That'd be the right people.
Okay, now the other 26 of y'all. Okay.
Well, how happened?
Look, I know the Battle of Hastings was an hour late, I guess.
Me too.
Corn laws, like, I don't know, this one.
Okay. Here's an easy one. I want 100%.
Who knows where I am right now? I'm standing in the city because I'm at the distillery.
At the distillery.
Well.
Okay. We're at 30 seconds. We've got about half the vote in. Let's see. Some of y'all, most of y'all were paying attention. The others, I am going to say y'all were late.
We were late.
All right, I'm gonna give it 15 more seconds if you are.
Lamont.
Reminds with.
Does not really vibe with Lamont.
Lamont.
I'm done.
Ding.
I love y'all. All right. Is this correct, Beth?
Let's see. Claremont, Kentucky, 67%.
Yes.
All right.
Man, I was close. I had a shot. 1 out of 4.
All right.
1 out of 4.
You either get this right or you get it wrong.
And I don't know if we even covered it. So this is on y'all. How much do you know about this Jim Beam distillery? The James B. Beam Distilling Company.
That's funny.
We didn't talk about warehouses. I initially anticipated that we would.
You did not.
Okay, take a wild guess. You guys know who does do temperature controlled rick houses.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So you should know who doesn't.
I can't imagine Booker would allow it.
Okay, LeBron.
This cocktail is a problem, by the way.
It's a
This cocktail is a problem.
It is. It absolutely is a real problem.
It is really, really a problem.
It's an
Let's see the bottom of this glass very quickly.
It's an
Pictures of this.
Black is not a problem. Opportunity.
We're going to change that vernacular right now.
Okay, well, since this ended up being a wild guess, Beth, please enlighten us.
So we do not temperature control our rick houses. Whoever said Booker would not have allowed that, you are 100% right. He really enjoyed the idea of, Kentucky doing whatever Kentucky does to the whiskey because it had done that for so long. So we have open air warehouses, all of them. We do have multiple different types of warehouses, but we do not temperature control any of them.
I got one right.
There you go. That 50-50 shot though.
50-50.
Right. Well, and you didn't have to be on time or late to get that answer. It was literally a crapshoot. All right.
It was the one that leveled everybody. That was the leveling question.
All right. This is a fun question. I can't wait to see the responses on this one. And surprisingly, this ends up starting a lot of arguments in BBS.
Does it? It starts a lot of arguments with a lot of people. Please.
Well, okay.
This should be 100%.
Exactly.
Think about it.
There's no thinking about this one.
I mean, how many times?
One is inclusive of them all.
Tonight.
How many times do you see 100% in life?
One should be inclusive of them all, so there's no wrong answer.
Bill, this is the one that's 100% everybody.
Join the movement.
No. No.
Hey, is that Ray? Was that Ray Vereen?
No. One of his acolytes. Wayne over there is one of his acolytes has joined the movement.
No, I ain't joined the movement. I'm just saying. Drink it the way,
Yeah, drink it the way you, but always taste the whiskey. Give the distiller that respect.
We got that.
Just taste the
but
whiskey.
Listen to what the question says.
This is directly.
Okay. We're deteriorating.
You started a mess.
Advice directly from Beth. Beth told us this.
Many times.
Several. Yes.
So I damn way you played.
Look, 11% of the people said neat.
I love that 11% of dissenting people right there.
That's the way I would.
I was not of the 11%.
I mean,
because guess what? Those 11%, that's how they damn well please to drink.
Exactly.
There's no wrong answer.
Okay, so bonus question. Do you remember who said any damn way you please? And I want so Beam folks and our agency partners, this is a valid answer. We're not breaking any legal laws by saying this because this is a valid quote. So who said this quote? Y'all don't remember who said the quote?
You
Shout it out.
Shout it out.
That was gonna be multiple choice.
Booker, no, himself said.
Yes.
Yes.
I was waiting for it on the screen.
Yeah.
No. This was a
Oh, see, you had us ready for the poll.
Yeah,
The question poll, not a vertical.
we were waiting on the poll. Stop it.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the highball. What is the base whiskey in the BBS highball?
I would just like to say that
100% people, 100%.
Being black.
My child came up with this question. I was trying to put everything together, and I needed one more question towards the end, and I didn't quite know how to say it. So my 15-year-old decided this was how the question should be said.
Fantastic question.
Great choice.
Great. Your 15-year-old did a great job.
Right. Put him on the brand team. He's totally into marketing already.
Listen.
Very much an underrated whiskey. Last place I worked, that was our #1 mixer.
Stephen, you have something?
Yeah, I was going to say, just like in school, the answer's on the blackboard behind you.
Yep.
All right.
Here it is.
I think I accidentally muted somebody. Mackenzie, I accidentally muted you. I was trying to let somebody in. All right. So you all got this one.
Look at that 100%.
You go, BBS.
Great.
You're paying attention. Beth, can you just give us real quick, since we're on a brand strategy, can you give us what the retail price for Jim Beam Black goes for?
So it's anywhere between $21.99 and $25.99, depending on where you are and where you're buying.
So I know we get really lost in chasing unicorns and spending $400, $200, and $300 for bottles that go in 30 seconds. Don't forget your $21.99 bottle, right?
Right.
Yes.
It should be in everybody's collection. All right,
we're almost like to share that when I ordered the bottle and it arrived, it came in the Christmas kit. So I have 2 glasses.
There you go.
Bottle.
Oh, you're
I'm
lucky.
so excited.
All right.
You got that VAP.
All right. Do you remember this? She did say this. Beth did give this answer. Y'all remember? Y'all weren't paying attention.
50-50.
I know the answer.
50-50.
I may have been taking the opportunity to pour.
I thought it was wild, but
yeah.
Do I get a prize for the first answer?
I remember.
A little bit of gym class too.
There you go.
Some of us been in gym class.
Graduate. Yes.
Yeah.
We got it wrong.
Okay. Remember, do you remember where it comes? That'll be the follow-up question. There's no poll for that, but bonus points if you remember where the yeast was cultivated from.
That I don't know.
You pay attention to that, Brack. All right. So yes, Jim Beam Distilling Company does propagate live yeast. Does anyone remember where the first yeast came from?
Backyard. Post prohibition.
Yes.
Wow.
Y'all got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
35.
We missed a lot.
That's outstanding.
All right. We're almost to the bottom of our polls here. All right. I'm raising a highball and a toast. We at Beam Centauri say.
There it is.
Accurate.
I was really just saying that because I saw the answer.
Or say it about 3 or 4 times.
Samara still hasn't though.
See, Samara, that's what you missed by going to a PWI. We learned all those crazy.
I was like, that's a new thing. I've been saying that for years.
I know exactly. It's like, oh yeah, we've been doing this stuff forever. It was so funny to watch you. What is this? What is this?
So yeah, we definitely said we definitely said "Whoop, there it is" at the HBCU.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Skoll never made it to our campus.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Skoll was there. Yeah.
It made it, but it was in your lip.
All right. I think we got enough votes. Let's go ahead and share. Most of everybody knows.
86%.
Well, most of us.
How you doing? Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, and some of y'all just wanted to.
You just wanted it to be where it is. Where it is.
I love you. There's 100% a reason I put that on there.
Yeah.
All right, and the final question.
Ooh, there it is.
What is the highball formation?
Okay, now I gotta think of my glasses. A highball in one hand and your favorite. That's it. Number one.
Sorry.
Let's see.
Those answers are entertaining.
It's a dancer team? Is it okay?
I have a dancer
Let's get information.
I was gonna do a Beyonce reference, but instead I went Alanis Morissette.
I almost changed it, but a Beyonce reference.
Alanis Morissette reference.
It's 100% an Alanis Morissette.
Oh, we've got choreography going on up in
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we have choreo.
Dorland's, there's Skoll. Is that in is that Cocktail Codex? Or is that a different book?
No, my a friend of mine bought me How to Say Cheers in 80 languages, and so Skoll falls under Swedish.
Yeah, it's a blonde state. Yep.
Do they have "Whoop, there it is" under AAB?
I'm sorry, they do not go into the sonic variations of the United States. It's very broad.
Come on, they gotta be, there's gotta be pour some for the fellas that ain't here. There's guess gotta be in there.
Now they have words that mean that.
Okay.
But not in that terminology.
All right.
There you go, 79%.
So our final question of the day was highball formation. It's not a song by Beyonce, but it is a highball in one hand and a snack in the other.
Never say never, Samara. We can always hope. Queen B could bless us with a bourbon inspired track. It can happen.
Listen, I can't pay that retainer, so I don't know who else can.
Japanese whiskey in her songs before. She has, I think, a hibiki in one of her songs.
She does love Japanese whiskey. I've seen it pop up here and there, so I am not mad. I love it.
And she's on my Afro pop station on Spotify.
Oh yeah, because they're a whole Lion King thing.
Oh. AZ was mentioning African. See, you got me messed up talking about Lion King. Was talking about Japanese whiskey in one of his most recent songs. I can't remember which one he was talking about, but I was like, oh,
sorry. I'm still trying to get Jill Scott to change that one phrase in her song.
We gonna let her.
Well, she does insurance commercials
pass.
now, so we can let that go.
We're gonna let that go.
Okay, so digressing again, reel it on back. All right, so we should wrap up and do a I'll do that question next. Let's wrap up. Let's do a recap. Mackenzie, you want to do a recap while I put together this last poll, or are we all good? Do we know where we're going and what we're doing?
Oh, you should just, which cities are we going to? Do that.
Wait. I'm gonna make a poll. I forgot to make that poll. I don't know why. And we'll end with that. Hold on, y'all. Keep talking. Go back to talking about Beyonce.
No, so we're gonna have a recap. I want to hear the recap because
I'm gonna have you guys sing, lift every voice and sing. You know, we gotta have it.
We're not doing that.
We can go out. We can go out on the Black National Anthem, right?
Singing doesn't work on Zoom.
That would be
tried that. It does not work.
Audio. Please don't do that.
I mean, can we do Black Parade and be like people with the Beyonce theme then?
One person can play it, not Alford.
We're overdue for karaoke, by the way.
That's true.
And
Karen,
Robin talked about her last $2.
Hey now.
The best
We need our Friday night back. Do some karaoke.
Y'all are gone. Y'all are vaccinated and don't have time to play on Zoom anymore. So that's why we're traveling.
No, we do have time. You're the one who doesn't have time.
I know. I've been forced to go out in the world on Friday.
As Tamara's been saying, let's reel it back to she's still recording us. We will haze you the second you press stop.
Oh my God.
It's coming.
Don't forget, I'm in control of the Zoom, so I could just end this whole thing. Anyway, here we go. Let's launch the poll since I'm not here on a Friday. This is where I will be for the next 5 Fridays. Where are you guys going to come meet me in person?
What happened to all of the above?
Oh, well, yeah, we could do that too.
Did I mention this cocktail is a problem?
It really is. If it's within 3 of the 5 boroughs of New York City, I'm in.
Martini.
You can put Martina for adoption. It's fine.
That's so specific. 3 of the 5.
3 of the 5.
And she won't come to DC because of the plague of locusts.
No. Once the plague is over, I'll come to DC. I need confirmation that bugs are not going to fly in my face.
Yeah.
They'll be gone by then.
They're actually
How come you can only give one answer on the poll?
Because
because I set it up that way.
Oh, okay.
She can do what she wants to.
She ain't trying to see y'all more than once.
Susan, you know.
I don't want to see you too many times. Once.
I'm doing the whole tour. I'm coming everywhere.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy.
Now, I think I can make Dallas, and I know I'm going to make New York.
Okay.
I'm just really disappointed that I cannot make my own home.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Georgette, you're not coming?
That's what I said, Brad. I'm like, I mean, it's not a get together if Georgette's not there.
I know, but
Georgette, I was counting on seeing you.
Hey, don't y'all give Georgette a hard time. She penciled everything in, and unfortunately, BBS was the last to confirm. So,
all right.
Y'all had to be sacrificed.
Oh,
don't do that to Georgette.
If I wish to remain in BBS and remain alive, I got to take somebody on a vacation that week.
Sacrifice has to be made.
All right, so we are going to end this poll. We've got about 73% of the vote in, and overwhelmingly, it looks like our largest event on this call, participation, will be in DC.
Hey,
I am really pissed now, Samara.
Georgette, come and join us. Come join us in Texas.
Texas will be
Come to Chicago, Georgette. You can stay with me.
Okay.
Georgette is the big sister of all of DMV BBS. And I can imagine how disappointed you are. I canceled a vacation to be
Yeah.
Not vacation.
You canceled a vacation to the next pandemic.
How about if you love all of you, but please.
Or rather, I moved
But
it.
please note, I will never be canceling.
Actually, I just moved it.
Not after a year and a half of not getting on a plane.
Yeah, I just moved it to DC. That's all, really.
All right, so we want to say a special thank you to Beth for spending her National Bourbon Day evening with us. Thank you,
Thanks
Beth,
for having me.
And thank you for sharing all the theme knowledge and leading tasting and the cocktail, the highball. So like the whole 9. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great National Bourbon Day. You've still got hours left, so plenty of partying to do.
Well, I clearly have a lot of work to do to get
out tomorrow. You're not helping me, Beth.
I gotta get
I'm
room
famous
blocks
for
and everything. But no, thank you, Beth. We hope to see you along our travels and maybe come visit us in one of our 5 cities as well. And of course, we'll be back in Louisville for Labor Day weekend. So I'll see you then, if anything else.
If anybody else is coming to town, please let me know. I would love to meet you out for a cocktail because we can sit at bars now.
Yeah. Yes, our whole crew is vaccinated. Well, 90% of us are. So we're ready to hang out and play. And it feels good. It feels good to hug folks again.
Oh, God.
Streets are calling out names.
Oh, Martine, don't be shady.
Streets are calling out names. How is that shady?
Oh, okay. Yes. So,
I mean, there are plenty of times I'm shady. You don't have to call me out when I'm not.
All right. So please stay tuned. Information for Atlanta is going to be uploaded later today and or this evening, and we'll also again post that in our group, in the society, and also via email and on our websites. Of course, BBSOpenDoor.com has all the details for the entire campaign, and even we'll get the room block information up soon too. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for our partners, of course, are powered by Jim Beam. Thank you, Jim Beam and Beam Contori, for for helping us sponsoring this event for us, this tour for us. And of course, we want to give a special shout out again to our collaborators over at National Black Chamber of Commerce too. So this completes our program. We can always stay and hang on and continue to celebrate National Bourbon Day together. And it sounds like Dorland has a lot to say, so I'm going to take the recording off. And yeah, let's continue to chat.